this football team. Excited I no longer have to talk about the basketball team after they get beat last night, or yesterday afternoon, I should say. And just such a perfect way, right? Isn't that just so apt for the end of this season to lose the way they lost? The very last minute of the game, played so poorly, didn't get the 2-for-1, didn't do anything right, nothing. Lost the game late, but I didn't need to see them play again. I wasn't rooting against them, but I didn't need to see them play again. So that's over with. And all that remains to be seen is tough decision for Michael Alford. We'll see what happens. It's been a dreadful, dreadful year. And we know Leonard Hamilton wants to return, and we know that he understands that has to be a roster overhaul. Baseball team dominates last night. Got good pitching. How refreshing was that? I had a shutout into the 9th inning. I don't care if it's air, Tom.
That's kind of what the Boyd's world would tell you about Bethune.
It doesn't matter. Domination, buddy. Domination. 10-1. Took care of business. And then, of course, we get today's football practice. I want to quickly say it is indeed a good morning to Troy Knoll. I was a little worried, Troy Knoll, when I pulled up the StreamYard as we get set every day to sit down and do the show. A lot of times during the show, I don't look at the chat, but at the start of the show, just making sure that the cameras are working and everything's where it needs to be, I always check to see that we're up and running. And I have to admit, it does the heart good when a lot of the loyalists and the diehards and the wonderful listeners of this show, many of whom are some people, everybody consumes the show differently. Some people listen to it via podcast when they get home in the evenings or when they're working out the following morning, whatever it might be. Some people listen to it live on the radio on 93.3 Real Talk Radio. They're driving down the road right now. Some of them are working, delivering packages. We've shouted out those folks many times. And then some of you watch it on YouTube, or you go back and watch it, or you watch it live. And the ones that watch it live, there's a select group of those that do so and comment in the chat. And Troy Knoll is one that at the beginning of every show, at the beginning of every one of these shows that we do, he's always quick to shout out and say, hey, good morning, how's everybody doing, and all that good stuff. And he's been in the hospital. And he's been going through some things. And every day he listens to the show and says that it cheers him up a little bit, and that's really cool. And it's humbling. It's just cool that you can be a part of somebody's, even if it's an insignificant part of somebody's life, just something that, distracts them from whatever stressors they have in the moment, whatever it might be. In this case, health concerns. But he's day 12 in the hospital there, but he's listening and going strong, and he gets to go home on Friday, and that is simply huge. And thanks so much for listening. I'm glad you're doing well. And hey, buddy, keep getting better. And as always, thanks so much for listening. So that's cool. But I'm not going to lie. I was a little concerned. I typed into StreamYard to get the camera ready, Tom, 5 minutes before we went on the air. Usually there's a message before anybody gets in. It's usually good morning, from Troy. And I'm like, ooh, there's no message. And I knew he was going through a procedure. I don't know what that procedure is, but he was going through something. I thought, oh, no.
Well, if Golf Channel's Jimmy Roberts was there instead, it would have been bad news. But thankfully, there was no Jimmy Roberts. And we're all good.
Yeah, man.
Friday. That's not far away, Troy.
Yeah. And listen, this Friday, everybody's excited about this Friday for a lot of reasons. Around these parts, it's the start of spring break and some travel for folks. And we'll be here throughout the week. But tomorrow, by the way, the only way to listen to the Jeff Cameron Show, live anyhow, will be via streaming, or you can listen to it on Warchant TV, because we will not be in studio tomorrow. 93.3 is contractually obligated to run some SEC basketball tournament stuff. That's a contract that they have. I roll my eyes too, but that's the deal. And so they're going to be running that, and it starts at 1:00. So we're going to be doing a live show. We'll be interactive. We'll be able to talk with you guys and do all of that, but it will be indeed from the hizzy. So tomorrow you have to tune into Warchant TV or go back and listen on the podcast. That's how you can consume tomorrow's show.
A little bit of remote work.
Yeah, and there's a chance Friday's that way too. We're not sure yet, but either way, we're going to be on.
That's what we do.
That's what we do. We'll be on, but we will not be.
You want to meet tomorrow at 1? Now, we're not tied to a time. Is there a time you want to go on?
Yeah, I mean, one's good.
Okay, all right. When it is.
I think one's good for consistency. After a nice lunch, Tom, we'll sit down and have ourselves a little radio talk show.
Yeah,
on the interwebs.
Maybe you could sign on as you're finishing food, like Jimbo used to do for your weekly interview. Yeah, hey everybody.
True story. I had to delicately bring up the fact that we were, this was going to be aired. And I remember he would walk into his office and I would record my interviews with Jimbo Fisher Sunday evenings. He would come in. I could hear him in the background because the SID would call me and say he's ready to go. And I'd be in the studio at ESPN. And then he would go, "Hey, how you doing? Are you doing all right, Jeff? Good. Gotta get an apple. Starving." It's like, "Yeah, coach, doing well. He's like, "Go ahead, buddy. Let's go. I'm like, how do I tell him to stop crunching on the apple before I hit record here?" And he was oblivious.
Yeah. One time you got him and he kind of caught on. And you said, "Coach, are you ready?" And in that way.
That was the best way for me to send the message that, my man, show some respect for yourself. I don't look bad if you eat on the air. You look bad if you eat on the air. I mean, I'm asking you a serious question, and you're going, well, 37. Like, brother, we're doing an interview.
The one time, though, the response was funny. He goes, "No, I'm just going to crunch in your ear. That's what I'm going to do."
Yeah.
And then
he laughed, and he knew the deal. Yeah. Good old days. Good old days with that guy on Sundays. You never had to sit through the uncomfortable wait of the Sunday, maybe on time, maybe an hour late, could be 45 minutes. You would get my texts, still here, still in the studio.
Yes, I would.
Still here. Yeah. The interview was scheduled for 6 p.m. on Sundays, which is bad enough.
And that ESPN studio,
yes,
did not have a television to put on the NFL.
No.
You'd have to go get a pirate feed off of the internet.
I would. And I was furious. And I would sit in there, especially if the games were good, like missing the second half of the 4 o'clock games, waiting on this guy, half stepping. I'm steady. The funny part about that, this is the last I'll say of this and I'll move on. Tom Block always interviewed Jimbo on Sundays as well. So Tom got him on Sundays and I got him on Sundays. But Tom got him for the TV show or whatever. So he would be waiting in the television studio for Jimbo. As soon as the television was done recording, Jimbo would walk into his office to do my interview. I would sometimes check with Tom on the mood. How was he today? We would compare notes, right? Or after my interview, he would go, "How was he with you this evening?" Because, it could have been bad with him, good with me, bad with me, good with him. We did never do what it was going to be like. And so I would always say, "Hey, Tom, you guys started the TV show yet?" "No, he's still not here. I'm just sitting here." I go, "Yeah, me too. And oh, by the way, if he's late to you, as in you guys haven't even started, it's going to be another hour. But that was the deal. That was frustrating. I texted my wife. It's 8:30 p.m. Still here in the studio.
And think about it. If it was different by about a decade, you'd be fine because you could have just had the technology that we have at your home and he would have patched through just like this. And you could have been in your house and recorded.
I could have just been sitting there and said, "Text me when you're ready to go. We'll do it at 11 o'clock. I don't care. I'll be up watching the highlights." I mean, let's go. But yeah, that was the hard part. Driving into that studio thinking, my man. Yeah, and every now and then.
And the one day that the board was hot, oh my God.
Oh yeah, you called me.
Yep. Because
panicked.
Our coworker Nick called me. I was having a Sunday, which is what I did in those days.
Enjoying your Sunday.
Nick called me and said, "Hey man, I can hear Jeff dialing out on the board."
You're like, what?
Yeah, because we had an intern who I love, and if he's watching, you're the man. Miss you, buddy. Didn't switch the board back.
No, didn't switch the board back. So we were live.
Yep.
I'm calling Jimbo, which oftentimes featured very animated discussions. Any number of things could have been said.
He could have been fired.
Well, I could have been fired. He could have been fired. We all could have been fired.
Yes, if he was, then you would be for sure. But
yeah,
he could have been. That could have been ESPN, Real Sports Center kind of. I mean, because
we could have had a problem on our hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I felt that in the corner pocket as I sprinted out to the parking lot where there wasn't house audio blaring at 100 decibels.
I can picture you sprinting out like calling my cell phone.
I mean, white as a ghost.
So
even more pasty than I am. Thinking, oh,
did you ever see the movie When a Stranger Calls?
We're all fired. No.
Okay, so there was they've remade it since. It's anyhow. There was a movie called When a Stranger Calls, and you've probably heard this phrase because the one thing that came out of the movie that was famous was the revelation that the killer, and it's a horror film, that the killer is inside the house.
Oh, well, yeah, I've seen that spoofed.
So, okay.
The Bud Ice commercial.
It's a scary, I saw the original. I was scared to death. I was little. So this babysitter is calling the police because somebody keeps calling the house. And when she picks up the phone, they say something creepy and hang up, or they sit and breathe, but then he starts repeating, "Have you checked the children yet? They're sleeping upstairs." And that's when she gets really scared.
I don't even like this.
How about that line?
Yeah.
And so then she didn't like it the first time. She hangs up the phone. Then she's back to watching her television show. And the phone rings again. She picks it up. She's like, "Hello?" And he's like, "Have you checked the children yet?" And then she hangs up again. And it's very spooky, right? So then she calls an operator, calls the police or whatever it is. Like, "Hey, I'm getting this crazy prank call. This guy keeps calling." They're like, "All right, try to keep him on the line. Try to keep him on the line. We're going to tap the line. We're going to figure it out." And then she does. She gets him to stay on the line for a little while. He's just breathing heavy into the phone. And then she hangs up. And the phone rings again. And she thinks it's going to be him. And she picks it up immediately. She's screaming at him, "Leave me alone, leave me alone." And it's the cop. And the cop's like, "Get out of the house. The call is coming from inside the house." The call. Yeah. So now and it's terrifying, right? And then eventually they find out the kids have been slaughtered. The whole deal.
They had been?
Oh, yeah. They've been murdered.
Great.
Yeah. So that's the premise of the movie.
Right.
That's the premise of the movie.
Coming up this week on Libations Friday.
So the reason that could have been, you reminded me of the cop. I'm sitting on the board getting ready to talk with Jimbo.
You wouldn't answer because you're
I'm about
to
do my interview.
Like, "Hey,
I'm a pro. I'm not going to pick up the phone.
Tom, I don't care if the Bucs threw another interception. We suck.
Yeah. So
it's 2012.
We weren't good at that time. So anyhow, I have the phone next to me on vibrate.
I mean, calling the hotline, calling the station line, calling you, back and forth, back and forth. It's just this carousel of panic.
So the second, Tom and I are very good about answering each other's phone calls. I don't call him and waste his time. He doesn't call me and waste my time. So we know if one of us is calling the other, there's probably a pertinent question at hand or a suggestion that we meet up to play golf or whatever it might be. Now, which is also a pertinent question.
It is.
Now, yeah. So when you called, I ignored you, thinking that you had forgotten because it was a Sunday and you were having fun, that you had forgotten perhaps I was in the midst of the Jimbo interview. So we each give each other the one, "Well, he can wait 5-minute" call. Mm-hmm. Now, if that person calls back immediately, then I know, oh, well, no, this is a serious moment.
In this case, though, your attention was diverted to be ready for the interview, and so it took more than 2. You might have noticed it, but I think there were probably 7 or 8 missed calls before you picked up.
Man, I just remember when I did pick up, and I'd already had a conversation with Jimbo on the air. Luckily, neither one of us cursed.
Yeah.
Neither one of us told some off-color joke. Neither one of us said anything that would be an FCC violation. Neither one of us described a human being disparagingly. Neither. There was nothing like that. Luckily, and then I picked up the phone, and you're like, "Your conversation's on the air. You've got to hit the such and such button." Yeah, I can still remember it. But you sounded like the cop. "The call's coming from inside the house."
Yeah, because I've got my car radio on in the parking lot, and I'm,
You're just listening going, "Please don't say anything crazy."
Yes.
"Please don't say anything crazy." Because my sense of humor. I'm an absurdist.
And Jimbo was absurd. Not an absurdist, but he was absurd.
You never know.
Right.
Like those conversations can take crazy turns.
And I did not, at the time, which is probably was illegal at the time, you couldn't shut off the tower from the phone. You're supposed to be able to do that. And that was my thought was, I'm just going to shut off the radio tower so nobody hears this. but you couldn't do it because hamster wheels, Oh, those were the days.
18 minutes of Jeff, you're on the air. What? This conversation you're having with Jimbo is on the air.
You're watching now.
Yeah.
Spaceballs.
Yeah. It's really
what you're looking at is now, sir.
Yeah. Let's talk football. We'll do it in a moment. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. If you're hearing this right now and you or someone you know is active military, a veteran, police officer, firefighter, nurse, or a teacher, turn up the volume and listen to this. My friend Shannon with Legendary Home Loans has a hometown hero loan program designed to make a difference to those who make a difference. When it's time to buy a new home, he will waive all lender fees for all hometown heroes. That's a $1,600 value right out of the gate. Also, if you decide to use their preferred title company for their closing, you'll be saving another $600. That's $2,200 in discounts right off the top. That's like 20 tanks of gas in your car. And today, more than ever, it's important to save as much money as you can, wherever you can. So if you or someone you know is active military, veteran, police officer, firefighter, nurse, or a school teacher, and looking to buy a new home, choose Shannon Young, Legendary Home Loans, and ask about their Hometown Heroes program. Call 844-FSU-LOAN or just visit FSUHomeLoans.com. That's FSUHomeLoans.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 2270146.
Very old school. He's keeping you comfortable.
This is Kyle, Service Manager from Barano Heating and Air. Schedule an appointment from your mobile device to learn about our Total Comfort Service Program. With guaranteed same-day service, 15% off necessary repairs, and $25 berry books to use towards air filters and other products. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Any day, anytime, anywhere. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
A cup of Joe, Java, brew, go-go beans, brain water, liquid lightning, wakey juice, whatever you call your cup of coffee, you're missing out if it's not Grassroots Coffee. At grassrootscoffee.com, you'll find an easy way to order the best roasted coffee beans available. It's very simple. Choose the blend you want and how you want it ground, and the bag you receive will have the date your beans were roasted and packaged on it, all written by hand and signed by the roast master himself. You'll know that's as fresh as it gets. You can get Grassroots outside of your house also at some of your favorite restaurants in town. Next time you're out to eat, try asking for Grassroots Coffee by name, because there's a good chance they will have it for you. And if you own a business, Grassroots Coffee has options to stock your break rooms with all the productivity powder your team needs. Plus, like some other options that you'll find at work, Grassroots Coffee actually is a part of our community. Get to grassrootscoffee.com today and get yourself a treat. Some locally owned, locally roasted, and locally loved Grassroots Coffee.
For many in the workforce, their goal is to climb the company ladder. Often the climb requires a move to another city, and that's especially true in our industry. I'm Jay of Paul's Termite and Pest Control. If you rise the ranks of our competitors, there's a good chance moving up means moving away. Why? Because they're not local companies. They're from places like Orlando, Atlanta, Salt Lake City, and even Europe. That's certainly not the case with our employees. We're a company that was founded in the Big Bend and remains locally owned. When Paul's Termite and Pest Control employees advance, they remain in the Tallahassee area. Don't trust the safety of your family and pets from disease-carrying pests, or the structure of your biggest investment from termites to people who may be here today and gone tomorrow. Trust Paul's Termite and Pest Control, a company that has serviced thousands of our neighbors right here for over 50 years. Being local really does matter in our industry because local problems require local solutions. Paul's Termite and Pest Control are the Big Bend's local experts for the elimination of termites or any other pest, and a greener lawn too. Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
in what was a battle between two Titans. And the Netherlands next play Panama tomorrow, 11 p.m. I'll be locked in. Netherlands win 4-2 over Cuba. That's a huge win. Cuba will take on Italy on Thursday at 6 a.m. if you're up early.
Well, that's the box score that you got, but I believe down in Havana, the box score said 14 to nothing Cuba.
Perhaps. Now, if you want to watch more, Chinese Taipei is also in Pool A. Now, they got not much of a chance here, but you can tune in and catch them on Tubi. Watch a little World Baseball Classic on Tubi. You know, the Netherlands kind of own Cuba. Go back to the 2013 World Baseball Classic, in which the Netherlands defeated Cuba in the first game of the second round as well. Ownership for my boys. The Dutch ain't having it. Get you some, Cuba.
There are many jokes, but I'm going to forego most of them. We'll see how you guys do against Panama. But if you beat Cuba, expectations are now through the roof.
Oh, this could be our tournament. This could be the one.
Our tournament? Whoa.
It's my birthplace. My birthplace.
Whoa.
Just saying.
That is crazy.
I reflect on my time in Heerlen, Holland.
Yeah. Goo goo gaga.
Great reverence. Wonderful people. The Dutch have always embraced Americans. It's the best of both worlds, Tom. I have my Dutch citizenship along with my...
Do you have a citizenship?
I do have dual citizenship.
What? You're only half American.
Oh, man. So, yeah, they did win. And the World Baseball Classic is underway. Just so you should know. Just so you guys should know. It's underway. It's good stuff. Good stuff. All right. A couple of things. You guys asked about this, and I wanted to update you. So, listen up. Now, here you go. This is a big deal. The Jeff Cameron Show Warchant Invitational Charity Golf Tournament, benefiting the second harvest of the Big Bend. We are doing it again. We had a great time last year. The fine folks at the second harvest of the Big Bend were a wonderful partner to not only benefit that charity, but to work with, to have a good time with them. And of course, Capital City Country Club has been great to us as well. And all of you who participated in the event and made it possible to raise a lot of money for the charity, which is something that obviously is our goal here. And then I think secondarily, obviously, we think about every year how to improve things. I think this year's tournament is going to be even better. And I'm already in conversations with plenty of advertisers and people who want to support the event. So we're going to have a chance to grow this thing year over year. And I think this one's going to be awesome. And it's going to take place April the 14th at Capital City Country Club. That's right. April the 14th is the day before the spring game. So if you're coming into town and you want to have a good time and you want to make it a long weekend, you're already planning on getting here, so let's say Thursday, we're going to be playing golf together on Friday, April the 14th. We tee off at Capital City Country Club at 9 a.m. You guys get there around 8 a.m. for registration to get you a goodie bag and all that good stuff. All proceeds from the event will benefit the second harvest of the Big Bend, a longtime community steward that, again, we're proud to work with in 2023. This year's tournament is sponsored by Corner Pocket and Grill on Appalachian Parkway. We also want to recognize Terry's Pool Service for signing on for a second year of tremendous support as well. There will be others. We'll be adding to this list. For players 21 or over, this year's event does include free beer for all, thanks to our friends at Tri-Eagle Sales. Free beer. That's right. You heard it loud.
Full stop.
Yep. Free beer for all, thanks to all of our friends at Tri-Eagle Sales. You'll also enjoy games throughout the day. We have a lunchtime banquet to follow at Corner Pocket. Lunch will include a wing buffet, appetizers, got a keg of free beer until it runs out for everybody over there as well.
There's a whole lot of free beer throughout the day.
That's a theme. And a price for the foursome is $625. That includes all processing fees. We're taking signups for foursomes only at this time. There will be one team set aside for signees or two-person registration. You'd have to email Tom at warchant.com about that to sign up as a single or a duo if it's even possible.
We've got a single already, so we're trying to patchwork together a group of four, but it's first come, first serve. So once that single team is done.
And that'll probably fill out today.
Yeah. So again.
So email Tom
at
warchant.com if you're a single. We're going to put you with three other singles and you guys will make up a team. But once that team of singles,
It's all fours the rest of the way.
it's all fours the rest of the way once that fills up. So it's, again, free beer, $6.25, team of 4, sign up. Let's get it on. And this should be a lot of fun. Now, also for sponsorship information, if you want to get involved in this, a lot of people reached out after the fact last year, Tom@warchant.com. Tom@warchant.com for sponsorship information. So we'll remind you of this throughout and, all that good stuff. Did I mention how they can get registered? Did I already say that?
The link is there in the chat right now. For those of you driving around, it will be available on our social media. So just find @JCameronShow on Twitter, @Warchant on Twitter, a Facebook page. And we're also, if you're members, of course, of the great warchant.com. If you're not, it's $10 for 4 months. It'll be on the message boards as well. It'll be pinned up at the top. The link is kind of wonky, but I can tell you it's eventcreate.com/E/JCS Golf 2023.
Kind of wonky.
It's a little much.
Kind of wonky.
That's why we're going to distribute the link everywhere we are, including live in the chat right now on YouTube and on Facebook Live.
Eventcreate.com/E/JCS Golf 2023. I think the part that will get people is the random E.
Can't do anything about the random E.
You're like, hey, we
So-
should throw in an extra E.
What I can do, though, is tell you that it'll be on @Warchant, the Twitter feed, within 1 minute.
It's going to be a good time. And you'll find that link out there if you want to get involved. Please do. Let's have some fun together as we do every year. By the way, guys, some of the things, we had to work out the kinks last year. We have figured out the things that went really well, some of the things that could be improved, and how to add to the experience as well. So I want you to know that we are making those changes. We're going to have a good time. You will not, for example, have to wait as long if your beverage is empty. If you say, hey, man, my beverage is empty, I'm parched, you won't feel that way like maybe you did a time or two last year. You'll be looking up, oh, my God, there's more. You have to slow our roll and gauge where we're at. So that'll be a good time. All right. Tom, you get to go today. I will be there today as well.
Christmas, let's go.
It's a perfect day for football. It's a perfect day to be outside. And this team, something I talked about yesterday on Seminole Headlines, is going to be a real joy to watch prepare for the upcoming season. And it's because, again, they have so many options, a lot of talent, more talent than they've had. Got to go back all the way to 2014, 2015. They have not had this kind of talent since then, And I just feel like the more we get to watch the newcomers and see how they're going to fit in, the more we watch this competition develop, the more context we can provide for you for what is going to be one of the most anticipated seasons that Florida State's played since 2013. I guess maybe 2012 was really, people were really excited about that season. We got a little ahead of ourselves. We were a year away. But I know going into 2012, a lot of people thought that could be a national championship contender. And unfortunately, a couple blemishes there. But in 2013, obviously, they ended up making that a reality, and Jameis Winston being the biggest piece there. But you already got a quarterback you believe in right now. You already have a guy that you really feel comfortable with and you trust is going to have a great year. And he's been given more tools to have said great year. And he's going to be protected, and they're going to be physical, and they're going to be able to run the ball. And now you've got real competition at all these positions with real talent. The defense is the area that I'm going to be watching very closely because I think that the questions in the secondary have to be answered. I think you got to find a third and a fourth linebacker that you believe can maybe help bolster that group, that segment group. But, man, these tight ends are a joy to watch on offense. There's real athleticism in that room right now. Chris Thompson has been rejuvenated. The receiving core has competition and variety. Offensive backfield is loaded. And, of course, I can't say enough, and I have not stopped talking about this offensive line, which is going to be the best offensive line they've had since 2013 without question. Earlier in the show, we had a question in the chat about center. And the center question was, is that the area or is that a position of concern despite all of this offensive line depth? I don't think so. I think they have two options at center right now, and they could easily create a third. but I think they're fine at center. Listen, very quietly, Maurice had a very good season. He's still not ideal from a size standpoint. They do have bigger behind him. I think he's going to have to fight for his job. Not saying he can't win it, because he does a lot of things right. He's technically sound. He's also pre-snap really good. He understands the protections. He understands what he's looking at. And he does everything technically right. So that's how he kind of gets away with being a little undersized. Got good footwork, all of that. He's reliable. Now, he could become unseated because physically there is a guy who's more impressive behind him. And I think that goes for this offensive line in general. You have an idea in your mind who you think is likely to become a starter, but you also know immediately when you look behind that projected starter, no matter if you and I disagree on who that starter is, whomever the guy is behind that guy, you would concede has a legit chance to win the job. So I cannot emphasize this enough. They are going to be good on the offensive line. They're going to be good offensively, period. I think they'll be one of the best offenses in the country. I think they will be.
You're just looking at center itself. You've got two players that you already like there. You're going to have to cultivate more options. Darius Washington has been an emergency center since about the time Jimbo was here too. So that's potentially a third option. But what I want to see, and I'm looking forward to today, and then when they put the pads on the subsequent, 5-6 practices, cross-training is a huge thing with spring practice. It's a huge part of it, not just in the offensive line. They do it linebacker with the two different positions. Sometimes it multiple linebacker looks. Defensive back, Adam Fuller's already talked about experimenting with a bunch of guys playing nickel. But on the offensive line, you've got a lot of huge bodies. And some of them are younger, like Kayshawn Sapp, Kanaya Charlton, Estes, if he has to find a home somewhere. Could it be at center? Will they cross-train him? You got to see who can snap the football, first of all. So that's something I'm going to be watching. How many guys can actually snap the ball with consistency? That's been a problem at Florida State for some time.
Yeah.
And does that improve? I'm not concerned. I know the question is about concern level. I'm not concerned about center depth. I think as long as you have a couple of guys you like there, that's pretty much what any team has. But they have so many big bodies that they can start to experiment and see who finds a home there. Before it was, well, Dylan Gibbons can't play anywhere else because we need him at left guard. I think on this year's offensive line, Gibbons might have been a center.
Yeah, I think so.
So who of that group that has a larger body frame could they be experimenting with over the next month? That'll be fun to watch.
There are no shortage of segment groups in which the phrase, that'll be fun to watch, applies. Defensive tackle is another one. Now, they're going to run out a lot of guys. So who starts may be irrelevant. But any competitor wants to start. And you want to be the guy when the game begins. And I think you have real competition there. I get that, Fabo's coming back, chose to come back, has hopes of being drafted high, has been a leader on this team. But you can't tell me you're certain that they would start him over Darrell Jackson right now. I mean, Darrell Jackson is 6'5", 330 pounds, and can move. He's a different looking dude. Again, you might argue it doesn't really matter who starts. You might, for team camaraderie, make sure you start Fabo. I'm not concerned with all of that. I'm starting the best players, and we're going from there. But
I don't really care what position they play. If you have two defensive interior guys out there at a time, you might interchange where they are relative to the football.
Mm-hmm.
I think the more immediate concern, and I'm not saying that it's a big issue yet, but you want to see that Darrell Jackson is cleared. Obviously the hardship waiver that he needs to be able to play this fall. They expect it, that it's going to come through. But before I start penciling him in somewhere on the depth chart, I would like that information to pass, because Baba Miller would be a reason. It's a completely different set of circumstances, but the NCAA does not operate in a linear and predictable fashion. So I would like that to be a settled issue. But once that is settled, yeah, I mean, I don't really care. We'll look at the snap count to determine who the starter is,
that's
more than who's out there for the first snap.
It's just going to be a lot of fun, man. They have so many guys on the offensive and defensive line. One of the guys that we're really not going to get an opportunity to see all that much this spring, you'll see him out there. I've already seen him out there. and to look at him, you see why they wanted him, would be Braden Fisk. I mean, that's a mountainous man. And he's pretty quick, too. Now, again, he's not going to be able to do as much, just because he's recovering from that shoulder injury, and he'll be ready to go in the fall.
See, Briley is asking in the chat about when do we expect to hear on the waivers. I'm sure you would probably echo this, good sir, but I've been burned enough times having an expectation of when they're supposed to get and supposed to hear back from the NCAA that even when they say something akin to, we should hear any day now, that's happened before, and it's been weeks from the point that you expected to hear to when you actually got a ruling from the NCAA. It could be today. Who knows, Briley? But the NCAA is impossibly inefficient with this stuff, so I wouldn't set expectations just yet.
I want to get clarification, by the way. I was under the understanding that some of this may have already been cleared up. Not all of it. So some of this may have already been cleared up. And I'm going to hesitate to.
Well, yeah, for Dimitri Emmanuel,
right.
It's an eligibility concern.
Right.
And then for Darrell Jackson, it's a hardship waiver.
Yeah.
So,
but I think we can find out and maybe get better clarification for what's happening with those guys today, maybe. Don't want to jump the gun on any of those things. It's important that we not do that, but I'll take a closer look. Some of you have asked a lot about Tafasi, and I'm going to reiterate something I've said before. There are guys, especially early on, that maybe have participated in a limited fashion, others who have been a full go, and still others that haven't gone at all. If a situation has not been addressed by the head coach as to the reasons for any of these things. So some guys, when I say participate, they're out there, but they're limited. Well, it could just very well be that they've got, a slight pull or something like that. And we're not really going to, speculate on that. There's not much you can do with that. Other guys, I know at the beginning, I'll give you an example. There was a player who missed a practice, who missed a tour of duty and a practice so far, and there's been a limited number of these, due to a scheduling conflict with one of his classes. That happens.
That happens.
It happens.
A fair amount, yeah.
Yeah, so we don't speculate when a guy misses a practice or two. If, again, coaches sometimes also will discipline a player for a single day. Could be for a week. And he may not want it out there. He may just want it to be between him and the player. There are a lot of reasons why guys either miss a practice, miss a day, maybe miss a week. I mean, if it gets beyond that, obviously, then the coaching staff gets pressed about said player. But, some guys have not been a full go. It's early yet. It's just a second spring practice. So we'll see when it comes to Tafasi and some others that have maybe been limited or we haven't seen as much of. I'm not trying to suggest that that's anything. But we'll just wait and see.
And if it's a non-issue, maybe we should just isolate the Russell Wilson sound so that when they ask, what's his situation? And we could play unlimited. What do you think?
We've got to get you off of this path. It's already annoying just watching the clip of Russell Wilson. We got to get you off this path. Russell may not make it through this year, man. I mean, that's a crazy situation.
It's just so bad that you can't even take part in the joke.
I can't. I hate it. I hate him. I can't do it. I mean, he's one of those guys you're just like, all right, somebody get him off the field somehow. I can't do it.
He's Shooter McGavin without the sense of comedic timing.
And I'm also just glad that, listen, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have made a ton of mistakes in their history. But can you imagine just the weight that the Denver Broncos feel having signed him to that absurd deal and how pathetic he was a year ago and how hated he was in his own locker room? Like, that stuff doesn't get fixed.
And it's happening when they get to camp or mandatory whatevers. You're going to have Sean Payton and Russell Wilson and Drew Brees as a consultant in the same room discussing things. And none of them is going to be listening to the other. It's just going to be, I hear you, but for an hour. And it's going to be, I wish, recorded.
Sean Payton's got to figure out if he can get Russell Wilson to be a quarterback that has over, 100 quarterback rating as he did for eons in Seattle. Because if he can, then he didn't even have to like him. He could just be like, all right, well, I can't stand you. We're never going to hang out. But if you play well, then that's all I need. But he's got to figure that out quick. Like, can he, or is that guy done? Is he washed? Is he shot? Because he's also hated. And you can't have a guy in a locker room who can't play and is hated. It's the most important position. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
The Tallahassee Fire Department responded to a crate of lithium batteries on fire Monday afternoon. Upon TFD's arrival at the scene around 1 p.m., the crate was found inside the warehouse and initially smoking. When the crate was moved outside, it burst into flames. TFD applied several fire extinguishers before gaining access to a front-end loader to dump several loads of dirt on the fire to smother it. TFD personnel on the scene had to decontaminate their gear due to the potential exposure to toxic chemicals. Wakulla Animal Services is hosting an adoption event for those looking for a new additional family member. The Adopt a Pet event is set to take place Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Tractor Supply, located at 2408 Crawfordville Highway in Crawfordville. Due to limited space, not all of the shelter's pets will be in attendance, but there will be information on each pet available for adoption. Volunteers are also needed. If interested in volunteering, contact Wakulla Animal Services at 850-926-0902. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Mainly sunny this afternoon with a high of 81. Winds out of the east, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Mainly clear skies and quiet again tonight, lows around 57. A blend of clouds and sun tomorrow, highs around 77. Highs level off around 80 Friday with a chance for scattered storms. 75, sunny skies and calm Saturday. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 78.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. My man, Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space.
Well,
you got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, I don't know, longevity time, a mouse?
Just a slow burn.
Slow burn.
This thing just finished the pinking. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay. Mouse it is. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
You guys to be aware of. I'll mention it today and tomorrow as the event takes place on Friday. Friday Night Drive is what it's called. Friday Night Drive with our friends here at Real Talk 93.3. It's at Summerbrook Golf Course driving range. It's going to take place from 5:30 to 9 p.m. One of the reasons I'm mentioning it is that it benefits Big Brothers, Big Sisters of the Big Bend. And that is an important organization who do really good things in this community. And we both know somebody who was heavily involved with them, and I worked with them in another capacity many moons ago as a counselor. But benefiting Big Brothers, Big Sisters of the Big Bend, 5:30 to 9 o'clock at Summerbrook Golf Course. It's nighttime driving range with they got glowing balls, Tom.
Where is this Summerbrook? Is it near Chernobyl?
Glowing balls for purchase. And you hit the range cart contest, closest to the pin contest. Beer and drinks on sale from Tri-Eagle. Georgia Beer Company on site pouring the Back Nine Brew. Prizes include free golf rounds, a brand new golf bag, and more. Friday night drive at Summerbrook Golf Club this Friday from 5:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. Portions of the proceeds benefiting big brothers, big sisters of the Big Bend. Should be a good time. Go out there and help out. Good cause. And you get to hit glowing balls. Which, who doesn't want to do that?
Be harder to do that in about a week after we gain an hour. I know Life Spectator hates when I say gain an hour, but let's be honest.
Can't wait to
Where would you
gain
rather-
that hour, buddy.
Where would you rather gain an hour? On the morning side of the day or the evening side, the twilight, as they say?
Yeah, you
side of
want
the
it.
day?
You want it on the back end so that when we
That's
get
right.
off the air, we can go play golf, and it's about us.
If I've got to spend one fewer hour on the earth on a Sunday because I gain an hour all the subsequent days after for sunlight,
I'm going to call that a gain.
that's what an ROI that is on time.
Uh-huh. Well, there were many times a year ago where you and I were on the back nine at Capital City Country Club, and the light began to wane, and I thought to myself, you know, Tom, pretty soon we won't have to worry about this silliness. We will tee off on number 15 here at 8:15 p.m., knowing we have no fear of getting this round in time.
And you may well have been a trooper a couple of times when there was a number going and we played Into the Dark.
Yeah, shining lights.
Yeah.
Racing around trying to find a ball that you're like, I'm sure that went right, but it's up by the green. That was the mandate.
It was correct.
You were like, you felt it off the club because you damn sure didn't see it.
right.
I think that's a little right, but I think I got it. It's up
Yeah.
by the green.
Well, hey, I would do the same. If you're working on a number,
Yeah.
I'm picking up. All right, partner, let's do it. Let's finish the job.
It's going to be a good year.
We are down to 10 teams available in the
Already?
golf tournament.
Already.
10 are available. That's it.
10 teams available. Let's go, people. That is unbelievable what
We
we
might
have.
need to do a split tee 2-day event at some point.
That'd be great. It's all more money for charity. It's all just a lot of people getting together, having a good time. And, you know, you're going to play golf and make money for a worthy charity, and you're going to be out. You get to skip work on that day. Hey. I'd sign up for that too if I wasn't hosting. So away we go. And I'll give you another announcement next hour. And once again, we'll push it. But this will happen quickly. So if you have any inclination to be a part of this, now's the time to do it. Get signed up. Call your friends. Call that group that you want to play with and be like, hey, guys, we got to get signed up. They're already down to 10 teams, just like that. So that is very, very cool. I'm excited about it. Excited about what we got coming up with Florida State baseball, these home games, man.
Little ACC series. Will Crowell pitch twice this weekend? That'd be nice.
I'm going to miss the Friday get-together, the ceremony with Buster Posey, the whole deal. I'm so flummoxed. I mean, I like what I'm going to do, what I'm going out of town to do. Family, friends, hockey, baseball, the whole deal. It's going to be great. But I hate that it's at the expense of that moment. I mean, Buster Posey, one of my, he is, as we say, on the Mount Rushmore of Florida State athletes. He's one of those guys who was just responsible for so much joy, so many moments. Like, are you kidding me? He did it again? He just did it again. He also had a ball one time. You know, when you play over in Jacksonville, that is a spacious ballpark. I mean, you've got to really get into one. When we play Florida in that park, it's huge. And I remember him hitting one to straightaway center that I think there was, I want to say we were playing Wake Forest in the ACC tournament or something like that one time. It was over there. It was a monster, a moonshot to straightaway center. And most of the people that hit the ball to center there, it was just assumed an out. And the announcer was like, oh, well, that'll be caught out in center. And you're like, no, that's 25 yards beyond center field fence. That's ridiculous. That guy did that. It was a giant dong. Straight away center. Boom. Monstrous.
As I often say when you bring up where he is in the panoply of great athletes in Florida State history. It's Buster, and then there's a wide gulf between he and the next great athlete in my undergrad years. It's really, we got Buster.
Well, those were dark
I got
times.
Tony D. I mean, Tony D was
Love
an NBA
Tony
player.
Douglas,
but
yes, and a good one.
Not much more. Lawrence Timmons, not a bad football player.
Timmons was a very good football player, and not to be trifled with, by the way. He's one of the few players that when you talk to other players on the team, they'd be like, yeah. You don't mess with him.
I missed Cromartie by a year, so that doesn't count. He was here for like 10 seconds anyway with the injury.
And he got hurt, yeah. That was tragic. I'll never forget, I got that phone call, Eric Llewellyn. Cromartie's out for the year. What the hell? Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Heating and cooling is the job we do. Parker Services. Comfort is a call away.
Invest in a Peak Performance membership and you'll buy peace of mind in knowing that you're extending the life of your system and probably saving money on your power bill too. The program includes comprehensive tune-ups that keep your system running at its maximum efficiency. And Peak Performance members get many benefits including priority service. Members jump to the front of the line when their comfort system fails. And a 15% discount on all parts. The Peak Performance membership pays for itself over and over again. Call today and have peace of mind. Florida license number CMC 050334.
Parker Services. Comfort is a call away. Parker Services. Comfort is a call away.
Hey, this is Dr. Ryan Finn at Finn Chiropractic. If you have a pain in the neck, bring them to Finn Chiropractic because neck pain, low back pain, headaches, numbness, and tingling can make your significant other or family member very irritable.
This is Dr. Shannon Lord. We developed the Phenomenal Health Exam to get to the cause of your problem. You can schedule your appointment at finnchiro.com. FENNCHIRO.com.
Whether the pain is in your neck or someone else's, come to Finn Chiropractic.
Because your chiropractor loves you and there's nothing you can do about it.
There's nothing like relaxing in a hot tub after a long day. But if you don't have one, you're truly missing out. Hot tubs and spas have tremendous health benefits, besides just helping you relax. Like improving your sleep, they help with pain relief. They help to better your cardiovascular health, and so much more. And this season is the perfect season to finally buy what you've been wishing for. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas has the hot tubs you need for the price you want. Come shop our huge 12,000 square foot showroom and save today. There's over 50 hot tubs in stock right now, so you won't have to wait weeks on end for that delivery to finally come to town. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come visit our huge showroom at 2473 Greer Road with over 50 hot tubs to choose from. You'll be glad you did.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee.
The latest betting odds and live movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
Tampa Bay Lightning, a $2.90 home favorite against the Philadelphia Flyers, plus 245 at Amalie Arena, where the total is 6. Shaded to the under. Milwaukee Bucks laying 6.5 at the Orlando Magic today at the Amway Center. ACC tournament play in Greensboro. Florida State a 2.5-point dog against Georgia Tech. The total 146.5. The Yellow Jackets have won 3 straight. The Seminoles have lost 8 of their last 10 games. Grapefruit League baseball today. The Braves another 65 favorite over the Red Sox plus 140. The Rays plus 110 against the Phillies minus 130. Sign up now for your free VSiN subscription at vsin.com/subscribe. For more sports betting news and information, go to vsin.com. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
I don't know about you, but freshening up my house for spring is one of my favorite times of the year. That's why I'm so glad I made a stop at Kohl's, where I was able to save 25% off must-haves from Sonoma Goods for Life, like new decor for my living room and the softest sheets for my bedroom. Plus, I earned Kohl's cash. So if you want to spend less on your spring home refresh, you know where to go. Select styles. Offer ends March 12th. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Every piece of land has a story. Some write theirs behind the wheel of a John Deere 1 Series tractor, like the Upshaws.
This is my tractor Penny. It's all about attention to detail.
But the Nelsons love cruising around their expansive Montana ranch in their John Deere Gator UV.
We've been here since 1868.
While the Caggianos drive a John Deere zero-turn mower to keep their Long Island brewery looking sharp.
Don't call me, don't bother me. I'm going out to mow for a couple hours.
Run with us and start telling your story. Learn more at johndeere.com/radio.
There's nothing like relaxing in a hot tub after a long day. But if you don't have one, you're truly missing out. Hot tubs and spas have tremendous health benefits, besides just helping you relax. Like improving your sleep, they help with pain relief. They help to better your cardiovascular health, and so much more. And this season is the perfect season to finally buy what you've been wishing for. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas has the hot tubs you need for the price you want. Come shop our huge 12,000 square foot showroom and save today. There's over 50 hot tubs in stock right now, so you won't have to wait weeks on end for that delivery to finally come to town. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come visit our huge showroom at 2473 Greer Road with over 50 hot tubs to choose from. You'll be glad you did.
Injured? Call Basic Brooks Law Offices, 777-7777.
Your body is a masterpiece designed to heal itself from within. Learn how to maximize your health by tuning in to Phenomenal Health with me, Dr. Ryan Finn. Saturdays at 2:30. Experience true health today and call Finn Chiropractic at 386-7700.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Other years, it seems like it did to me. It seems like we just ended the season, turn around, next thing you know, we're at spring football practice. Happened quick.
Yeah, well, the bowl game kind of speeds up the clock when you play a bowl
When you
game.
actually get into a bowl game,
Yeah.
play in a bowl game, yeah, you forget that it is quicker once you are well into almost January.
Yeah, that's kind of a strange deal to play in a bowl game. And then I think also the NIL stuff, the portal also got us into January, a good bit into January where things were not settled about who's coming and who's going. So by the time you settle and then you look at the roster, react to what they need still, the guys that are going to come back, play defensive end for you, defensive tackle, running back, all that stuff. It's almost February. So you're only 4 or 5 weeks away. And here we are.
No, I love it. I love it. I mean, I'm not complaining. I'd like the same sort of magic time warp to occur over the dead of summer. Not that I want to miss out on things that I have planned with friends and family and all that good stuff, but, anything that would expedite the sense that we're almost to football season with the team this program has now. It's a game changer. It really is. I forgot what it was like to not just be eager to see a product, a sport that I love. I think generally speaking, if you listen to this show, it's not just that you're a huge Florida State fan. You're a fan of sports. You're a fan of football. And so even when the Noles are bad, it's not as fun. But, we're going to have football back. But when the Noles are really good, or they have a chance to be really good, you're reminded of how that anticipation grows. And you think about it in the deadest of times, just walking around. Like I give my kids walking around money all the time. Like, hey, when you go to your friends, hey, here's some walking around money. I want to make sure that they're not caught where they can't be able to participate. My football thoughts are that way. I'm like, I'm walking into Marco's to get a pizza on a Friday night for the family, and I start thinking about the battle at right guard. Just walking around football thoughts. Happens more to me now that I'm really legitimately, eagerly anticipating the season. I think they're going to be good. Like downright good. Not kind of like for them, they're good. No, they're good.
Well, and that's where the tone is always set in the trenches, and we've had to work around it. As a football staff over there, they've
only
had
so
to
much
scheme
you can
around
do.
it. There's only so much you can do.
Right.
We've had to talk around it. As a media member, there are ways that you could still win football games when you lose the trenches, but that margin is so slim. And now, if both ends of the football, both sides of the football are healthy enough in the fall, that makes everybody look better on both sides that are not in the trenches. It makes the linebackers look better. It makes the cornerbacks and the safeties and the wide receivers and the running backs, the backup ones. They may just be kicking ass on a given day like they did against Miami, down at Miami, running the same play over and over again.
Get you some of this.
And maybe it's Keziah Holmes that runs for $125 or Rodney Hill. And we say, is that guy better than Trey Benson? No. Let's pump the brakes. We just have an elite offensive line. So a lot of people can run behind that elite offensive line. These are weird places we have not gone, even in the 29 straight. That offensive line for the 29 straight was very good, but it was thin. And there were times where they were even overwhelmed during that run. This group, I don't know that it has as much top-end NFL talent. It might.
Correct. That's a better way of describing it.
It might, but it's got more insurance policies. It's got a hell of a lot more insurance policies.
I joked yesterday on Seminole Headlines. I was standing watching the offensive line. Tom, from me to you, buddy, I was standing there watching some of the instruction that was going on with Alex Atkins and these guys that he's working with better clay. He's working with better clay. And so I'm watching these guys, and I won't name the person. They're on the staff. They're part of the athletic staff. And they walked over to me and said hello, and I said hello back, and good to see them. And, we're kind of just catching up. And he noted that I don't know if I was looking longingly, but I was looking with a degree of satisfaction on my face at what I was witnessing.
A little bit of thirst.
He was looking at me like, you seem genuinely excited to lay your gaze upon this talent. Yeah. And I said, yeah, I am. It's different. And I was trying not to insult anybody specifically, but they did. They made me laugh.
I heard that segment during a break yesterday.
Yeah. They turned to me and said, there ain't no blanks out here. And he was talking about a specific type of player with a name, a real name. It was a real person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about your headlines compatriot yesterday? Wanted to name names?
He's throwing people under the bus. Yeah,
that was interesting.
Yeah. I don't know if he's got an axe to grind or what, but people can ask him about that. But I'm just telling you.
That was very old school you. I was like, wow.
Well, but when I did it, I did it for very specific reasons. I legitimately wanted to hurt that kid's feelings. I wanted him gone. And I made no bones about it. But other times, Tough Love Cameron's different than what he was doing. Tough Love Cameron will get on you if he thinks there's an ability that's untapped, that you've been weak lately. You're not focused.
Perfect segue then.
Mm-hmm.
Is there somebody that Tough Love Cameron is fixed upon on this roster?
On the football team?
Yeah. It's a better team. But is Tough Love Cameron looking at a certain player? Because it's got to be a player, not a position group. Tough Love Cameron doesn't work when you spread out the love. It's got to be very targeted.
Specific, yeah.
It's got to be surgical.
Sure. And when I am calling a singular individual out for their...
It all started with Billy Strode all those years ago.
All those years ago. Yeah, you're right. I did it a lot in baseball over the years. There'd be guys that I would say, you're not getting the job done, buddy. You're a gas can out of the bullpen. We can't have you rolling out here. There's a guy, I can never remember his name, but there's a relief pitcher for the Phillies that Director Matthew hates. And every time that dude comes out, I picture Matthew going, he just knows. Here goes the lead. Adam Morgan. There it is. We've been in the studio together, and we've got the game up on a side computer, or he's just looking at the game as it's being played, and he'll go, oh, we just went to Adam Morgan. All right. And I see that look on his face, and the Phillies are up 3 runs. I'm like, it's a 3-run lead. You're like, not for long. Not for long. And then invariably, admittedly, he's right about it. I'll look over, and there's a 2-run dong. I'm like, ooh, that's a walk and a dong. And he's like, in a hurry. This game, we got a game.
Was your boy over here with Jerry's Familia. Post Alex Gordon home run, the 2015 World Series, useless. And we were free of him into, I believe, mid-March, about 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the news came down. We signed him. I had been watching spring training thinking we're free, and then signed him back. And guess what? Walk machine.
I will say that there is a player that I'm looking at. I don't know if they warrant tough love yet, but I'll be watching Duke Cooper closely.
Okay.
He was a bitter disappointment last year. Stunk. Took a huge fall. Was a liability for this football team a year ago. Now,
how he practiced is how he played, and vice versa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this is the one caveat I'm going to say about that. We learned from Mike Norvell the other day that Duke was dealing with an injury, and he was trying to play through it. Now, you want to talk about better depth and more talent? Here's an example where that comes into play. You mean to tell me a year ago they felt so very little about the secondary room that a guy who you know is hurt, is a shell of himself, who's giving you ample evidence through the first 4 games that, you know, he's not any good at all, like not even close to where he once was, and you still roll his ass out there every week? Or as often as he could give it a go? I mean, that tells me you hated your options.
Yeah. I remember in Louisville, he was rotated out. He was mostly on the outs, but for Wake, there were a couple of key plays that he was on the football field.
Yes.
Yeah.
In which he failed.
Yeah.
And so listen, that had to be very difficult for him. This is why I mentioned that. I give him the out. We found out he was playing through injury. He was not even close to being as effective as he once was. So I just, now that I see it's a bigger version of him, you'll see that today, Tom, when you go out there. He's bigger. He looks healthy again. He's running freely. There's no hitch in the giddy up. Everything looks right. So, as he transitions to safety, can he be an asset? Can he be somebody that really helps this team? Because they do have some options now.
Here's what's curious about that. If he was that dinged up and he's back to 100%, then let's suppose that he could be what he was towards the tail end of his freshman year in a more mature body frame.
At corner, right? Yeah.
Why not just play him back there?
I think they feel good about their options.
Because they have too many of them?
Well, I don't know about too many, but they've got 3 I think they really like.
Because if you had he and Cypress on the edges, and then...
But you got Renardo Green, too.
Best available in the slot.
Well, Azaria, we think Azaria is going to be a nickel probably. So, and I don't know.
That would be so weird.
This is interchangeable, by the way. I can say that it's either Duke Cooper, or I would tell you that it's Kevin Knowles. Kevin Knowles.
Yeah.
Because Kevin Knowles last year had a very similar fall from grace, right? He went the same way Duke Cooper did.
He wasn't 100% right either.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So we were steady running two dudes out there
Yeah.
that were well below average, partly because they were hurt. That tells me that, again, I was not in love with the man who was coaching the secondary a year ago. I'm not sure he knew what he was looking at. And he's now not with us, meaning the program. He is with Arkansas, where he's free to suck. And we'll see what happens to Woo Pig soon. Right. But now you got a guy in here that we're excited to see coach, who is well thought of and certainly, I think, has a better handle on what he's looking at. To me, it's a predictor based on his knowledge of the sport, his high level of play, and also his coaching ability. Took him to the NFL. He's going to have, as it pertains to that secondary, he's going to have a better, I think, clue of what he's seen. And so, there's no guarantees those guys play at all, because they do have options now. And there are some guys that have come in here. Fintrell Stripers being one of them. Obviously, there's a guy that has played at a high level in this league already, has accomplished a lot. You've seen him. I've seen him. He's very fluid in and out of his, he can really turn his hips and go. Yeah.
There's a presence about him. Is he Jalen Ramsey in terms of how he presents physically? No, it's not like that. Where you look on the field and say, "Oh,
very few people present that way."
Good luck disengaging if he gets his hands on you.
Yeah.
No, that's not what you see with Ventrell, but there's just a presence and a smoothness. It's kind of like when you see a polished receiver and the way they carry themselves. They know that they can get open. The way he carries himself, he knows he can cover you. And I just look forward to seeing those battles day by day, because we have a receiver room that's worth a damn now. We used to, say the defensive backs were good because they would blanket cover our receivers, but
then we found out our receivers were terrible.
Nobody could get open. So of course they could. Congratulations.
Yeah, those were tough days. Also, something I'm glad that we have been able to rid ourselves of as we get set to cover the rest of these practices throughout spring and on into the fall. That was tough. Every day going out there going, I just don't see a guy. I mean, you'd have to fight hard to convince yourself that there was even an average player at the position. Average in this league, in the ACC. There were numerous guys you're like, that guy can't even play in the ACC, and he's gonna have to play for us.
I mean, point blank, there were segments or drills that were a complete waste of time to watch and assess.
No, it hurt your feelings. I hated it.
That's not going to get better. So let's watch over here and see if this could get better. You can't do that anymore at practice.
I found myself staring off into the distance, Don Johnson, Miami Vice, overlooking the ocean while contemplating his divorce. That was me. Yeah. That's right. I'm standing out there looking over the Atlantic, thinking about all of the poor decisions I've made that have led to this moment. Phil Collins in the background as I walk to my car, depressed with what I'm witnessing at practice. Tom, how did it arrive at this? Did you ever think that we would meet up here, the third deck at Hauser, to watch this assembled mass of sorry? The Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Hey Tallahassee, it's Sarah with Seminole Auto Glass. You're probably driving right now, which means you're surrounded by glass. Did you know that each piece is made differently? Your windshield is 2 sheets of glass with a thin plastic in between. This allows it to take an impact without going all the way through. Side and back glasses are typically tempered. This strengthening process is what allows them to be shattered in the event of emergency. Regardless of the glass or how it breaks, we can help. Trust your local auto glass experts. Seminole Auto Glass, proudly serving the Big Bend for over 15 years. Better call Seminole.
Hi, this is Jamie McClenny from Trek Financial in Tallahassee. Managing downside risk in your portfolio is one of the biggest challenges that you'll face in retirement. Trillions of dollars in stimulus from the Federal Reserve and D.C. politicians, combined with zero interest rates, have propped up financial markets since the financial crisis ended in 2009. The Fed recently ended quantitative easing and has started to raise interest rates at a time when the global economy was already slowing. Have you considered what another 50% correction in the stock market would do to your retirement plan? If you're concerned about where this all might be headed and would like to find out about the potential benefits of an active risk management strategy for your portfolio, Give me a call at 850-900-5200 and schedule a time for a review of your portfolio from an active risk management perspective.
Make Jamie your first call for a second opinion. Investment advisory services are offered through Trek Financial, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
When you need a plumber quick, how long is an acceptable time to have to wait?
Yeah, hey, it's the Millers again. Just calling you about our little plumbing problem.
2 hours?
Hey, we were hoping you can get here soon because the water is getting really bad. I mean, please hurry.
4 hours?
I know you said you were on your way, but, honey, tell the kids to tread water.
8 hours?
Don't worry about us. We're fine.
At M&L Plumbing, you'll never have to wait long for quality, dependable service right when you need it. At M&L Plumbing, we listen to our customers, and our qualified technicians aim to achieve 100% customer satisfaction. So the next time you need plumbing work or repairs, think of the name M&L Plumbing, your local plumbing experts, commercial or residential. Give us a call, 850-575-9393, or visit us online at mandlplumbing.com. M&L Plumbing, for all of your plumbing needs.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language? In as little as 3 weeks, Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life, celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. I knew we could not put off getting life insurance. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $40 a month. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $18 a month.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-452-5050 or go to SelectQuote.com now. That's 1-800-452-5050. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
I'm old enough to remember the Heartbeat video, which is as bad as it sounds like it would be, with Don Johnson singing top of his lungs. Heartbeat, nothing but a heart.
He got better at singing for Watchmen on HBO.
That's right. He was really good in Watchmen on HBO.
That twist with what's in his closet was one of the more predictable things on a very unpredictable show.
Yeah, it was a good show, but it was predictable. But they still executed it well in the sense that you were kind of like, ooh.
Yeah.
Taking it back.
Well, when they first show his home and you see the security guards outside of his home, I remember looking at Jamie and saying, no, something's wrong. These guys aren't cops.
But what was weird about it was, remember the nice dinner they had, mixed company.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there as a cop doing blow at the table. I mean, it was weird, like he wasn't trying to hide it. I was like, okay, well, these people are down together. They're all together. This is real love.
I think he went to the kitchen quickly, but
he had it on his nose.
But his nose is bleeding.
I'm like, he's not trying to hide who he is. And he was comfortable enough. But then there it is. That's what makes it all the more insidious. You're like, oh, goodness gracious. It's disturbing. I love that. That was
a
good.
human Trojan horse.
He died a bad death. Toughie.
And that's not a spoiler for those. I mean, that happens quick. I think you're an episode and a half in. Or maybe
I remember loving that. Like, whoa. Well, what do we have here?
Well, that was who's the actor? That's Chappie.
Yeah, it's Louis Gossett
Yeah,
Jr.
Louis Gossett. Yep.
Yeah, that was, and God, he's been around a long time. That dude, he was in movies I liked when I was 6.
Who lasts longer on this earth? Gossett. I'm assuming he's still around.
I think
Could I
so.
be making the same mistake again?
I hope not. I hope not. I hope you're not.
Or
Yeah.
Gene Hackman.
Oh, Gene's in his 90s now, right?
All right, look it up.
So for people whose careers play out before our eyes over a 40 or 50 year span, like that moment, now it's different for everybody depending on how well they take care of themselves. But if you're a singer or an actor or an athlete and you've been in the public eye for, as I said, 3 decades, 4 decades, that moment of falling off a cliff from where you went viable, even in your late 50s, late 60s, early 70s, whatever it might be, to, oh my God, death is lurking around the corner, happens fast, because you go from seeing that viable character, that actor, that athlete, that whomever, up on the big screen, entertaining you, to, I haven't seen so-and-so in a couple of years. How are they? And then they catch him at some premiere where they were trying to come in through the side door because they're like an executive producer. They're not even in the movie. And then, of course, the paparazzi snaps 100 pictures of the decrepit version of Gene Hackman who's barely alive. And you're like, no, look at Gene Hackman. Yeah. That is death hovering behind him. Yeah, so that happens. It breaks your heart when it does.
I feel like the person who lasted the longest while in that state was Christopher Plummer. Christopher Plummer looked like he was basically dead for 8-9 years, and he was still doing movies. He died in 2021. Hackman is 93, Louis Gossett 86.
I think Hackman's in trouble. Recently, there have been a lot of dedications to Gene.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Roberts?
That type of stuff. Like the Hollywood version. People are like, the great Gene Hackman's birthday was today. You're like, okay. All right. People are trying to, people are trying to get it in there. They're like, he won't be with us much longer. Lifetime Achievement Award coming down row 7 here. Let's get it done before he's no longer here to accept it. Yeah, there was a picture not long ago and it upset me. I remember thinking, because it's going to happen to every one of us. But again, you're in the aisle and then all of a sudden you're like, oh no.
That one's going to hurt. Old Gene.
He's a badass.
Yeah.
But see, that's the problem. You got come on. That's not Gene. Is that Gene Hackman? Damn it. It's over. Look at that picture. For people on the radio, you're going, this is terrible. Just trust us. Director Matthew's cruel.
You know how much joy you derive of Googling Jack Nicholson hoagie? This is the opposite feeling.
Yeah, this is not good. I do like that he picked up a little coffee. Got a little coffee on the road there. He's trying.
Oh, man. I didn't know it was that bad.
I told you. I knew. I saw some other picture where I was like, okay.
You are oddly aware of celebrities.
Acutely aware of death that looms for many.
Celebrity knowledge. Like, you're oddly aware. So this is a very specific thing to know. Did you check on him recently? Were you just, how's Gene Hackman doing? And then you were aghast? Or does it pop up in your feed? How do you get this knowledge?
So I'm a fan of Gene Hackman, the actor. He's done a great job in almost everything he's ever been in. He's even good in terrible movies.
The Replacements.
Like he's great, right? So
winners want the ball.
Well, he's just always good. And he's also been in countless just iconic roles, right? So anyhow, somebody mentioned him about a month ago on I don't know, Instagram or something. And they were talking about a role. It was his role in Mississippi Burning, which is an awesome role. And he's great in it. And anyhow, I hadn't seen that movie in 25 years. And I remember seeing it in the theater. And I was like, oh man, I forgot the barbershop scene. And when he comes in and they're just like the good old boy network hanging out, drinking, even though they're not supposed to, prohibition and all that. And he walks in and he starts talking to him. And it's going to be a great scene because, anyway, I don't want to ruin it for people who haven't seen it. But
I don't think I have.
So, yeah. So I know so I decided to look for it, found it, watched the scene, was like, oh man, that was great. Well done. Well done. And then somebody else underneath that immediately said something along the lines of, can't believe he's 90, whatever. And that did cause me to go, what's going on with Gene? How'd this even come up? Why is this up? And then
because of how our smart devices listen to us. Everybody who is listening to the pod, watching it on TV, watching TV.
Oh, you're
right
all
now,
about to see a lot of
there's
pictures of
gonna
Gene
be a lot of
Hackman.
Gene Hackman.
Uh,
His role in the Birdcage is one of my favorite roles in any movie ever. Just because he can deliver such absurd lines so straight-faced, just calmly.
This is the question of the day, and I'll move on. Jeff, who was the celebrity you referenced in a show who then died a few days afterwards? That's happened a bunch of times, but I can't recall the specific one of these.
It wasn't Hubie Brown. He's still
No,
going.
Hubie's still kicking it, and he's still good.
Yeah.
He's still good. I don't know how, but he is. He's still good at what he does. He gives us all hope. Quick-witted, understands what he's looking at, breaks down the coverage really well.
I think he called Pistol Pete's rookie season.
He's really good still. I don't remember who that was. Speaking of odd, this is football related. Red Grange. You know who Red Grange is?
Yeah, I'm
The
aware.
Galloping Ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, he only died in 1991. I would have thought Red Grange had been dead for the better part of 50 years.
Technically, that's true right now. He is 91 is the better part of 50 years.
Well, that's true.
Sadly.
But I would have thought he had left us long ago. He was all world in like 1920. That's not a lie. He was. He was. He was. He died in the state of Florida. Somebody we know, by the way, has a Red Grange autograph. It was offered up to me.
For how much?
They want me to pick up a Tampa Bay Lightning jersey for him when I go down this weekend, and they're going to give me this Red Grange picture and autograph.
Oh, that sounds like a good deal.
I think it will be a good deal for me. Yeah, but the Galloping Ghost died in the state of Florida, by the way, even though he went to Illinois.
P. Simpson says that Hubie Brown will be the next head coach of FSU basketball. It will start a very, very productive 20-year career in Tallahassee.
I think Clint Eastwood's dead any day now. I think Clint is probably on the way out. Duvall is also.
Bob Duvall is.
I saw Bob recently too. Time's up. Good run.
Yeah.
All-time great run. I mean, you can't. That's one of the things. It's just a doffing of the cap. Gene Hackman, all-time.
Jimmy Kahn, same thing. It was quick.
Well, and Kahn was. I listened to an interview he did on WTF about a year ago, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
We're about done here.
Because they had him on, I went and saw in the movie theaters, The Godfather 50th anniversary last year, which was great. And they had a little Q&A beforehand, and he was on the dais, and they were protecting him, as they should have.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like they did with Paulie Walnuts in a recent Goodfellas one. You're like, whoop, no. I'm sure they cut a lot of this
we
before
don't
it went
need
to
him
air.
up there. It's tough when they wheel these guys
Old
out
Tony
there.
was not having it.
I just remember, listen, the worst of these, you've got to have the ability to discern. If you've got, this is true at FSU, this is true anywhere. If you have a legendary figure, largely responsible for the popularity of your program in the case of athletics, you have a legendary actor, been in, as I said before, 20 iconic films, his all time, and you do these remembrances in which people get to gather and feel good again and embrace nostalgia. A lot of times they do it for fundraising purposes or to benefit the arts or whatever it might be, right? You need, before committing to an event like that, to lay eyes on all the participants. Like, get in there and don't just get a yes via email from their handler. Why don't you go see Jimmy Kahn before we decide to put him up on the stage? Go see who it is we're talking about.
Tony Sirico.
Yeah. Make sure you go check these guys out.
We could do a video message from Tony. You know what? I love it. Let's do a video message from Tony.
Edit it and everything. And the right lighting.
25
the
seconds.
The right lighting. Just real quick. Hey, couldn't be there, guys. What a great time. You guys have fun type
How
thing.
How you doing, you mother beep?
Yeah.
You know, people.
Everybody laughs. Oh, he hasn't changed the
Tony.
bit. That guy's great. All right. Now cut away. Cut away. Before they begin to zoom in. So you get all of that. But like when they didn't... I can still remember. I'm still thinking about the Yankees having the gall to roll your boy out there. Now, Steinbrenner was a crook and a bad guy.
Yeah.
So I didn't really care that he was made to look the fool, but you can't have a guy go out there and drool on himself and cry because the cool air hit his skin and there's noises. My man was having a nervous breakdown.
I think when I'm 50, I'll agree with you. But at 36, if the bully gets bullied a little bit,
it's just
I'm not gonna be heartbroken.
They have him out there. He's scared. You can tell he's looking around quickly, thinking that the attack is coming at any moment. There are tears coming down.
He thrived on the fear that he would invoke in others.
I'm not feeling sorry for him. Just saying, if you cared about him, you would have laid eyes on the situation. Said, my man does not even know he's here. This doesn't help anybody.
Who is this helping?
Yeah, this doesn't help anybody.
A very basic question.
Are you guys trying to just be like,
who feels better? Maybe people on the upper deck because they can't see what's going on. That's about it.
They did it to Ted Williams.
Yeah.
On the All-Star game.
Yes. They did it to Gordie Howe for his birthday. We've gone down this road.
The Jeff Cameron Show PR firm would be like, guys. All well-intentioned, I'm sure, but we're not rolling Ted Williams out here tonight. Look at him. He's over in the corner. Right. Just look at him.
It needs to be you. You can make a lot of money in this world because you've got to be the brutal voice in the room.
I would do it. I would say, guys,
you want to scare him to death?
Look at this. What is wrong with you?
Why don't we just hold the funeral right after? You're about to kill him.
You would have said that to the folks at Augusta with Arnie. What are we doing? He's got 7 layers on. It's 88 degrees. Arnie doesn't want to be out here.
No. And certainly if he is, let's not address him as though we're at his funeral.
That was my favorite part, though. He's here. He can hear you.
And now,
as the great Mr. Palmer would have said,
on here, the first tee.
He's here. He can say it now. No.
Known as Magnolia Fur. The first tee here at Augusta. For one last.
There was a time.
Hopefully second to last, April.
Mr. Palmer.
You have the tee.
Oh, he can't walk. Why is he out here? It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Big Bend Homeless Coalition is set to host its first annual fundraising event. The organization's goal with the Home, Hope, and Promise fundraising event is to raise support for their coalition to assist with their mission of providing housing to homeless families and veterans. The fundraising event will be held Thursday, March 9th at the Women's Club, located at 1513 Cristobal Drive in Tallahassee. For more details or to purchase tickets, visit bigbendhc.org. Timothy Floyd has been sentenced to life in prison with a 30-year minimum mandatory for killing Jonathan Spooner and dumping his body on Ridge Road in January of 2020. Spooner's body was found wrapped in blankets in the front yard of a house. An autopsy later determined Spooner had been beaten with a hammer. A jury deliberated for about 2.5 hours Wednesday evening before reaching a verdict. Floyd was found guilty of manslaughter, but the judge ruled Floyd was a habitual felony offender and a prison release reoffender, which enhanced his sentence. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
With your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Afternoon with a high of 5 to 10 miles per hour. Mainly clear skies and quiet again. Tonight, lows around 57. A blend of clouds and sun. Tomorrow, highs around 77. Highs level off around 80 Friday with a chance for scattered storms. 75, sunny skies and calm Saturday. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawns.com. Right now, 79.
Did you know that when you order food delivery through third parties like Uber Eats and Bike Squad, local restaurants use up to 30% of their own revenue, and you're actually sending your money to corporate bank accounts in California? Well, now you can truly support our locally owned restaurants by ordering directly from foodiesdelivery.com. Choose from delicious options like El Jalisco, Smitty's Tap House, Hangar 38, Jerry's Cafe, and many more. We take pride in supporting local, and with foodiesdelivery.com, we can actually put our money where our mouth is. Order your next fresh meal today at foodiesdelivery.com.
Not bad, Eddie.
Jeff, what's happening, dude?
Bears eating people all over the place. I read another article today. It's the third one in the last month of somebody getting mauled to death by a bear.
Man, bears have their own space.
Well,
you got to let them have that.
You do. You got to stay clear of bears, is what you're saying?
Yes.
I got a question for you. Here you go. If you had to be mauled to death, eaten alive by any animal in the world, which would you choose to eat you alive?
Ooh, I think maybe I'd want, longevity time, a mouse.
Just a slow burn.
Slow little burn.
This thing just finished the pinking. It's been a month.
I could go to work. I could still do my thing. I could probably live 30 years.
I thought you were going to say great white because it'd be quick, or a grizzly. We went with mouse.
Yeah, mouse.
Okay, mouse it is.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
All that good stuff. And he noted that since Mike Alford came out with the very public frustrations that Florida State has regarding situation of the ACC and the economics, there have been other athletic directors that have now come out publicly supporting Florida State's position. Clemson's Graham Neff, which we are not surprised by, former athletic director at Clemson, now Miami, Dan Radakovich, also did, and North Carolina's Bubba Cunningham. So that's kind of surprising.
Tobacco Road is on fire.
Now, Cunningham made his comments on a radio interview in North Carolina, said essentially what everybody else has said up to this point regarding the revenue producers and the need for those producers to receive larger distributions of the money. Clemson's athletic director did it in a newspaper interview in South Carolina as well. So they've now felt emboldened to be able to do it. But again, I don't know that any of this is going to be the catalyst for what it is we need. This is a temporary salve on a gushing wound. This is not going, even if it's agreed to, this is not long-term going to help this conference and not those that seek much more in the way of revenue to compete with those in the SEC and Big Ten.
But what it does is it helps define when the line is drawn in the sand, who stands on which side. And we could all speculate, and it's been an open secret that North Carolina, as much of they want to tell you about their charter membership in the ACC as they do, that they stand with Florida State and Clemson. And we figured Miami would be on the same side of the line as we are as well.
Of course.
Because of, obviously they get it. They know what it means to be successful in football.
Many moons ago in the black and white TV era.
I wasn't yet 10 or 12 years old, but they were, and they understand the value of that. Virginia has long been tied to being on our side of the line as well, because they might be a natural fit for the Big Ten, which, I mean, they want the payday. They certainly want the payday.
They do, but I don't know what value they bring the conference, but okay.
But they understand that this isn't going to exist for a while, and there will be haves and have-nots. They want to be on the have side of the equation.
Sure.
So that's 5. That's 5.
Well, David Hale noted that there are, he thinks, 6 that would agree to this situation. He believes that they're open to the idea of larger portions of the revenue going to those that produce. And, okay, fine. That's still not enough. You have got to find a way. And by the way, this puts Jim Phillips in a bad position. His league is publicly talking about the problems of the money and what should be done about it. And athletic directors are speaking openly and honestly with any reporting outlet that they can, noting these problems. And so how are you going to build consensus if you're Jim Phillips about what to do when like 5 or 6 of your members are like, this was not advisable from the commissioner. They don't care anymore. I don't know. Feels like a dead conference walking, but I don't know. To me, the biggest concern I have isn't when it's going to happen, because it is when it's going to happen. It's not if. I know it's going to happen, but what if it's 10 years from now? It's too late. It needs to happen a lot sooner. And I'm not talking about this stopgap nonsense where you make an extra $3 million than you're making now. That ain't going to get it done. You sure you'll take the money? As you noted, you'll take the money just to collect more for when you buy yourself out of this thing.
Exactly. It speeds up the process.
Yeah, but no, man. I don't think this is what works.
I think it'll be sooner than later. I think what these institutions are doing, or the representatives, are documenting where they stand, and if there is to be a battle of some kind or an argument to be made, that they have exhausted all their options, and they wanted very much for this to work with the ACC, but it just can't. Here is them kind of putting date lines next to their stance for any future potential legal action. It doesn't mean that it has to come to that, but you've got to go on record publicly beyond the minutes of a board meeting to show that, hey, man, we're trying to make this work. You guys don't want to work with us. You other member institutions of the ACC don't want to vote in favor of keeping this thing afloat. So you know what? The hell with you. We tried. We want to prove that we tried.
Yeah, the problem is that if at the end of it, you've exhausted those options, are you prepared to go to court? Do you have a way to wrangle yourself from these very restrictive regulations when it comes to grant of rights? I don't know that we do.
I think there will be an appetite to go to court in a year or two, because it just comes down to what is the watermark of the figure that you're willing to part with. You don't have to cut the check straight away. It doesn't have to be the moment we leave the ACC, we got to issue a check. This settlement that was done between Texas, Oklahoma, and the Big 12 shows that you can do it as a future payment down the line, which is important.
But they were 1 year removed, 1 year away from
at
being,
$50 million, which is nothing.
Yeah.
We estimate 120 to leave, but honestly, are they going to, the ACC, if we left, are they going to say you owe us every red cent and they're going to win that in a settlement?
Well, for the 120, yes.
Okay, but beyond that,
the 580 to 600 million.
Are they really going to expect that we would pay all of that? Are they going to argue that to the hilt? Because they're only costing themselves money in a court of law to argue that over years and years. So what's the figure? Do they want 5 and we're willing to pay 3? And if we wait a couple of years, we're closer to that number? Like, what's it going to be?
I really believe, if you're telling me now that you think, let's say that behind closed doors, you went to the league and said, okay, look, this is moving towards a lawsuit. This is moving towards us challenging in court. They might very well say, well, by all means, have at it. This is ironclad. You're screwed. And when we win the case, you're going to pay our legal expenses. But anyhow, the point would be, let's say they're open to a discussion. Well, if they're open to a discussion and you tell me that they say, okay, well, look, the 120 million, of course, we have to have that. Florida State would say fine. And then let's say they go, and of the 580 to 6, whatever is calculated with the grant of rights, we'll let you out for 300. So 300 plus the 120, so $420 million, and you're free to go.
That feels a hell of a lot closer to attainable than not. I don't know about.
Well, I'm saying if you actually had a number, if it was said to Florida State or Clemson, $420 million total, you're out of the grant of rights and you're out of the conference. I think we would do that now. I think that there would be an avenue by which to make that work.
I don't disagree with you.
And now, so let's just hope.
But if you can work in back channel a way that you don't have to pay any of that, beyond the 120, because you can cajole the votes for dissolving the situation, or work with the network to have you go from A to B, and all you got to cut a check for is 120, then I think it's worth waiting another year to see if you can save yourself $300 million. I think that's where we might be right now.
Well, I think it started by trying to get 8 schools to agree we need to get the hell up out of here.
Yeah.
And dissolve the conference in essence. But that, I don't think they're going to be able to do that just yet. And then I think from there, the next best option is the hope that they actually give you a number and you can ride.
Is it possible, though, because you've talked a lot about this, how the next big domino to fall is the Pac-12 negotiations and where
continue
those go.
To watch that, yeah.
If they crumble enough that Arizona State, and some others leave for the Big 12, and so this is now going to be positioned as Conference 3. The Big 12 will be the best of the rest, quote unquote. At that point, would a Big 12 deal be worth more per year?
It already is.
To a Louisville? To a Virginia Tech?
So you want landing spots, which is very important.
What I'm saying is, wouldn't a West Coast annex for the Big 12 help speed up that media value for other ACC schools to say, look, you could keep making 40, or you could make 45 right now, and you don't have to worry about us leaving, because we're going to do that anyway. So you could go now, lock yourself a better deal.
I think that was the cry. That was the alarm bell. in addition to talking to the other schools that are like-minded, he's talking to the schools that aren't real sure what they want to do. And those schools and the powers that be at those schools looking around going, well, this thing is inevitably going to crumble. Clearly now we're at a place where publicly the viability of the conference is being questioned by the most powerful entities in the conference. So this is not going to go well. We already know what the numbers are, so we don't have to research that. We know how far we're going to be falling behind year in and year out. So between what we know is inevitable and the monies that we're missing out on, might it be best for us to be proactive and get up out of here sooner rather than later and take a sure thing with the Big 12, or if we have a chance to go to the Big 10 or something like that, obviously that's a far more
for a school like Louisville or
Virginia.
Tech.
No, I'm saying like Virginia, if they wanted to go to the Big 10. Virginia Tech is not going to the Big 10, and Louisville sure as hell isn't.
But they could make more money right now, right here. It's somewhere else other than the ACC.
Big 12 would be the answer.
And we're going to devalue the hell out of the thing by leaving. So what's it going to be? You might as well just work with us instead of working against us. You can do it for spite and cost yourself several $1 million a year in TV payout, or do you want to work with us and let's find a solution and a landing spot?
Yeah. Well, that's the bluff and all of that, but I mean, they could just look right back at you and go, no, we're not going to renegotiate anything. You're going to pay us everything, and if you don't like it, you can go to court. And then you better have your ducks in a row and be ready to go to court, because you can't be here for 13 more years.
We won't be.
No, we won't be.
That's a very refreshing thought.
Sooner, much sooner, not 2026.
Right. Let's play those Georgia and Alabama games as a member of the conference, not as an out-of-conference opener.
That would be great. That would truly be great. Again, a couple reminders here. First of all, Tom, let's get back to something we announced earlier on the show, which is the fact that the Jeff Cameron Show Warchant Invitational Charity Golf Tournament benefiting the second harvest of the Big Bend is going to take place April the 14th at Capital City Country Club yet again. Cannot wait. Really looking forward to it. It's a great pleasure to work with the fine folks at Capital City Country Club and Second Harvest and all of our great sponsors. You want to sign up? You want to get in on this thing? You want to have fun like we did the day before this time around, the day before the spring game on a Friday, 9 a.m. tee time, 625 for a team of 4. Get your guys in order and let's go. We're already down. We started with 26 teams. We're already down to 12?
We are down to 10.
10.
We are down to 10 teams, and also that singles group. We have one set aside because we've had some people that travel across the country, and especially for the spring game. There are now only 2 slots remaining for that group.
So we have 2 singles signed up that will make part of a foursome of singles.
Correct.
So that group is now half full. You are one of those singles who want to play, worried that you couldn't be able to gather up the other 3 guys you need. Sign up for that singles event. We'll put you on that team.
Even if it's you and a buddy coming up for the spring game and there's just 2 of you, just email me, tom@warchant.com. That's got to fill up by tomorrow.
Oh, I would think that you'll get the answer to that tonight. So again, and Tom, if you want to flash on the screen, I don't know if you did already, how they can get signed up.
Yep. I will post that link again.
Yeah, we'll put that link back up there for you. So there you go. That'll be fun. Looking forward to it. The announcement came down today. We've got it ready to roll, and that's a good thing. Also, don't forget about this Friday. If you're in town, you feel like benefiting the big brothers, big sisters of the Big Bend, why wouldn't you? From 5:30 to 9 p.m. this Friday night, join my friends here at 93.3 Real Talk Radio over at Summerbrook Golf Course for a little bit of nighttime driving range with glowing balls. Get them they're available for purchase. Hit the range cart contest, closest to the pin contest, beer and drinks on sale from our friends at Tri-Eagle as well. Georgia Beer Company on site pouring their back 9 brew as well. Friday night, Summerbrook Golf Club, 5:30 to 9. Portions of the proceeds benefiting big brothers, big sisters of the Big Bend, if you want to be part of that as well. Up on the YouTube feed, Warchant TV feed, is the eventcreate.com/e/JCS Golf 2023, and that's where you sign up.
The link is already on Warchant's social media. It'll be on the boards in just a moment, pinned at the top. And remember, there's only 10 teams left, so you might want to act on this. We all have those golf group texts. Hop on yours now and wrangle the fellas or the ladies up.
And I might be wearing my Payne Stewart get-up, P. Simpson. I might. For years when I did this thing, we did have the old Crazy Pants Cameron. I was not afraid. Still one of the great regrets of my life, stumbling across an upstart company that was making crazy pants. And I thought that would be a good investment. Reached out to the founder just to do it. Found him in San Francisco. Guy had no contracts. Within a year, he had John Daly. Next thing I knew, everybody.
Would he have taken your money as an investor?
I called him. We talked, but I just never. It's on me, Tom. It's on me. Story of my life. Roddy Piper wanted to do the interview. Did I follow up? Did I give him a time and a place to do the interview? No. Dies right. What was it? A month and a half later?
Yeah.
Could have had my Roddy Piper interview. I was at the beach when I got that sad news. Ruined my whole beach trip. We had just got there. We were grabbing the beach chairs, and I got the text. Piper's dead.
Might have been my fault.
Damn it, man.
Have a good trip.
Piper's dead, and I blew it. Good work out of you. Good work, Director Matthew.
See you at the practice field.
Yep. We'll be headed over there in just a minute. Peace. Talk to you guys tomorrow. YouTube only tomorrow from 1 to 3.